that will spin. See, it worked. And if we wanted to, we could take it off there.
Mm-hmm. That's a great picture. Did you get what I was trying to do?
Yeah. Look.
What was I trying to do?
Ride the mountain.
Like the bull, yeah.
Yeah. Of course I got it.
The blue like so stands out, huh?
Oh yeah. Did you see the other ones? Mm-mm. Oh, it looks like we're live because even though it's still spinning on
I even turned this on so that.
Well, I just got a notification that we're live. So there we go. Hey!
I do not understand what is going on here, but hey, welcome to
Creative Unraveling.
It's Thursday.
It's Thursday, my most favorite day of the week. I'm curious, do you have a favorite day of the week? Thursdays for me have been a favorite day, I don't know, for as long as I can remember in my grown-up days. I just love Thursdays.
I was going to say, I don't have a favorite day of the week, but because I don't have favorites, but I have a day that I absolutely love. I would probably say
Tuesday.
Yeah. Tuesday adventures. It's the day I choose to basically date myself. My tummy is agreeing. All of a sudden, my tummy has decided to like be very growly, but not like in quiet ways. Like it encompasses my whole inside of my being. So if Leah starts
now, it's this
laughing,
is so bizarre. It's saying it's not starting, but it still seems like it's running.
Well, it says it can't start it in time, but I didn't ask it to start at a certain time, so
it looks like it's still going. So we're gonna keep going. We had this issue yesterday with Live and Unscripted. So
I'm like, do we hit play today? Because remember last time we hit
I don't know
play. I just don't want to mess this up.
Well, we're already live. That's the dumb thing. Live. So now it's counting down. What in the world is going on?
I don't know, but move that so it doesn't come off. This is amazing. Hey, we're still here. Look at us. Going with the flow. You know what taught me partly to go with the flow? Being on the river in August.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, that was some crazy, wild, amazing stuff. And it's still saying we can't start your broadcast.
That's so wild because now it actually has the countdown and recording. So where do you bring that up? So where in your life do you feel like you didn't really go with the flow? Like what are those places for you that are crunchy?
Man, I do not know that we have enough time to delve into that, but I grew up as what I would consider a perfectionist. Like I put a lot of rules on myself and a lot of
Did you put those rules on yourself or
probably from a lot of places, but yeah, some I accepted. Some of those things I accepted, some I did place on myself. And I think I struggled to just go with the flow because I felt like I had to have answers, I had to have a plan, I had to have a goal, I had to have all the things and check all the boxes. And so like when things didn't go as planned, I may not have shown that on the outside. Maybe I did. I don't know. Maybe I did. And I was unaware of it, but I felt a lot of stuff on the inside for sure.
Yeah. So what does go with the flow mean to you? I feel like we need to clarify that.
Yeah. I think for me, it's more of a learning to accept just the flow of every day, the flow of like what life is in those moments. And instead of fighting it, which I've been really good at, just like pausing, breathing. We practice breathing on Live and Unscripted on Wednesdays and every day really. But I find myself a lot just taking the simple practices that we show on Wednesdays and doing them many times in a day where if I find myself wanting to really get wound up or feeling my decision maker not wanting to make decisions or finding myself in angry places or wanting to feel angry or just out of sorts, I actually just practice taking deep breaths and bringing myself back into some sort of coherence where I can go, okay, what is actually going on in this moment versus all the stories that get going on in my head. I think that's the thing is coming back into flow of of what's actually going on. What are the facts? What are the details versus adding in all the emotion I may be feeling that's creating all the waves, and like sometimes really big waves, but it's a story. And so for me, I just think it's that. It's like, you know, I love kayaking. I don't whitewater kayak. I flat water kayak, but I like going down rivers as well. And just, I think it's one of the things that's helped me to just pull the paddles in, allow things to unfold as they're going to unfold in the course of the river. And it's been a really challenging experience, but also really rewarding and beautiful at the same time. I still find it challenging to want to trust the processes sometimes, and knowing who to trust. That's my flow.
That's what
example.
Flow means to you.
For now.
So if you have an idea of what flow means to you, I'd love to see it in the comments.
I would too, actually.
And get a chance to understand what flow means to you.
And you know what? That might be a fun conversation to have together collectively. Like, do you want to have a conversation about flow? We can even sit and paint together if you want to. Just saying. Let us know.
So I'm going to start this whole painting part. If you want to participate.
I want to say something really quick.
Go for it.
Really quack.
Quack.
I'm just really proud of myself. If you haven't read the description for this painting, please go read it. This is me like tooting my horn a little bit because I was funny. Okay.
It was very excellent.
It was excellent.
Excellent. All right. So if you want to join in, you just need some paintbrushes, water. I have these watercolors.
She's using super bright fluorescent colors today.
Yes.
I'm going to use your palette instead of this one.
Yeah. I mean, it's Easter and, you know, for me, it's a time of new beginnings, and, you know, the flowers start popping up, and like, I think daffodils and the crocuses, and
I just realized what you have in your hand and why.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So we're going to do some eggs today. If you didn't get that from Jen's clever description, I just have this.
We're doing eggs. I didn't know that. I just was using Easter references.
Okay. So if you're not comfortable drawing eggs, you can get a toilet paper roll and just kind of pinch off the top a little bit and let it just kind of give you that shape.
And I'm going to challenge you to just be uncomfortable and draw eggs.
Well, there you go. You can do that too. Watercolor paper. I have 140-pound cold press and some water, and just show up. Just show up and do your thing. So
they're here.
We're going to try and do something a little bit different today. Try it this way. Is it? Oh, show in stream. There we go. 3, 2, 1. All right. Yay!
This is like a new, I didn't know it had this function and feature. It didn't always.
It's so fun. So we're going to just start with the eggs.
Okay, and that's hilarious. Look.
This.
Look, oh, you can see us in your screen.
That's funny. Yeah, you can. So you. Let me try that again.
I was going to try and do something eggy in my smart aleck comment, but none of it's coming.
No, it's not coming. Well, dang.
No, you were approaching being funny.
I was approaching. I was approaching being funny. So what I'm doing here is I'm just doing the outside to get an outline of the egg. You can do it in pencil. The drawback with this is that I've chosen a dark color, so I can't really go back to lighter colors. But you can do this lengthwise or widthwise or however it feels good to you. I'm just going to kind of do them this way. There you go.
Dang!
And I mean, you can make them big, you can make them small. They can have odd shapes. Like there's no right or wrong.
Could they go to their refrigerators and grab an egg and trace an egg?
I don't know, Jen. You can try that.
It just made me think of it, drawing that egg right there.
I mean, it'd be a good model. I don't know if it'd be a good thing to trace necessarily. So I'm just drawing some eggs here. I think, so getting back to the idea of flow, I think I used to run a daycare, and when you are outnumbered by littles, you think that you're the boss, but really you realize quickly you're not the boss. And it's finding ways to have littles, go with kind of what you're suggesting, but it has to look like it's their idea. So and sometimes that works, and sometimes it really doesn't work. And I know in those places I had to learn to keep my sanity and keep babies happy and keep myself happy, was to really just go with it and look at what the gift of what's happening is in that moment, and just have fun with it. Like I think that experience, growing, I did that for probably about 10 years, and it was just such an opportunity to really allow the kids to teach me. I got the opportunity to pay attention to what's working for them and what's not working, and how environment plays into that, how routine plays into that, and adjusting the program to really work with the kids. Because I found when I wasn't going with the flow and learning, adapting to all of that,
that's all you're doing.
It made the days a lot harder, and everyone was unhappy. So I look at flow, kind of like how can I stay in a good space, even though it's not going the way I think it should be going, and that can be really challenging at times,
right? And to recognize that just because you think it should go away doesn't mean it's like the best way or what's going to attain the outcome you're looking for.
Sure.
That part was really tricky for me to come to terms with.
I think when I got into watercolors, I as much as I thought I understood flow and all of that, I learned very quickly that watercolor has a mind of its own sometimes, and
all the time.
It's learning a new level of surrender. And I find it so fascinating though, like why that feels so personal, when we're putting things on paper, and making what we're doing visible, and how we judge that. And like, I think that's been a lot on my mind.
Or even when we use our voices.
Yeah.
Like we put it out in a way that we're using our voices, and that feels really challenging sometimes. But why do you think that is? Like for you? What is that challenge? Ooh.
I think it's because I think one of the biggest disconnects in creativity, is that a lot of times it doesn't look the way that it does in our minds. And that can be really heartbreaking, because in our minds we have this picture, and that still happens to me all the time, that it's not the way that I'm envisioning, and it's not coming together that way that I think it should be.
I still love the example of that, of the commission pieces that you just did, which PS we're going to talk about on the 10th of April.
Yes.
And also the 11th, with the person who commissioned them, and show you the finished products of
yes.
that. But I love, Jane we're just excited to have been a part of this with and for her. But I love watching that process for you, and how you redid a painting 4 times.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you doing? You just spent so many hours on that, and you're starting over again. And she would say, it's not what I see in my mind, and it's not up to par for my work or what I envision. And oh my gosh, the final product of that is like one of they're all, I don't have favorites. They're all my favorite pieces, but that one really stands out. And maybe that's why.
Maybe
because I know what's behind it. It's not just she sat down and did it. She sat down and redid it and redid it and redid it.
But I feel like part of that is understanding what you're seeing, because sometimes I think I see something, and even just knowing my own abilities, sometimes I run up against, I haven't really mastered that skill set that requires that for that piece. or that part of that piece. Sometimes it's a proportion thing. There's so many elements that go into creating a piece of art or anything. Like, think of a meal. Even like, there's a lot of components that go into making a meal. It's your salt and your what is that, savory, and your sweets and your acids,
the amounts and proportions of that to like make this stellar.
And then there's the aesthetic piece, and like there's and what do you serve it with, and what's complementary. And if I'm getting into the painting stuff here, I'm going to digress for a minute. Maybe not digress, because we're here to paint. This is a really great opportunity to just play around with your paints and see what they do. So some of them.
By when you say, what do you mean by when you say see what they do? Like,
so,
help them.
For example, this egg right here that I'm currently painting, I'm going to do the whole thing with water. And just drop in some water, and then I'm going to take a color. I'm going to take this fun reddy orange,
some more yellow here,
and then just put dots in. I'm not going to try and mix them. I'm just going to see kind of what it wants to do. And then I'm going to switch colors and put in something different and see how, the wet aspects of that mix with it.
Wait, it's kind of like dropping an Easter egg into different dyes.
Seriously, like that's kind of what it is.
That's kind of what I'm noticing as I'm doing this. Like, you don't really know what you're going to get when you drop it in a bowl full of water, but of color. But here you go.
So this one, I'm going to put a little bit more water, and I'm going to show you a different technique. This is just an opportunity to play with different ways of doing things and different colors and how they react. And this one, I'm just going to go on I put some more water on this one, and so it wants to balloon more. And I'm just touching the edges. So I'm not even going into the middle, and just letting the water move the paint around. I think that was one of the coolest lessons.
So funny, because when I do that, that is not what happens on my page, but it's okay.
It's still wet.
I'm learning.
Sometimes it's like how much water you put, because this one, I didn't put as much water, and that's beautiful. I love the colors you chose there. What was I saying? This one I put far more water, and it's got more of a balloony effect. This one has less water. And it's not mixing as balloony as the other one. If I'm going to use that same
balloony, I like that word, balloony.
So, but I think that's one of the coolest things about just playing around with it and seeing what you can make when you just play. I think it's an opportunity to just play
because you want to, not because there's a purpose, not because there's an outcome. Not because
you want it to look a certain way.
Like you do it because you want to, because it feels good and you want to remember what it feels like.
I think that piece right there, and there's opportunity to feel a range of emotions as you're doing this. It's like,
like I feel no emotion.
Whatever. Like, it could be frustration. It could be what's that, apprehension when you're first starting. It could be like, oh my gosh, look what that did, and like, or moments where like, oh my gosh, I just did that, and you're just like, wow, it's an opportunity.
I'm like, all experience I haven't really had yet. Okay, that's not completely true. I've had some cool moments like that.
So,
like, I remember the first time it actually ballooned. We switched up the paints and we switched up the paper. Like we always say, start where you're at, start with what you have. If you need to go get the dollar store or the Walmart, like Crayola watercolors, to start, do that. It's okay. Just play around and see what you can create with that. And I remember being frustrated of like, why am I not getting the kinds of results that you're getting? And we recognize that the, paint brand and style actually makes a difference.
Yeah.
And chalky. So we started, chalky versus not chalky. started messing around with some of that. Filler? And what's that?
The chalky is a filler, so it's a way to stretch the watercolor paint.
Okay.
That's all.
And just recognizing like, oh wow! And I remember the first time I put it on there and it actually did the balloon thing. How excited I was! That was the long point. I was like right there. Oh my gosh! It like poofed in my whole egg. That was rad. I'm glad you guys got to experience that.
Paper towel for a second. This is also a place where you can just play around with textures.
Dang, that was cool.
This one seems really puddly to me, so you can dab it, and then go in with a different color if you want, or you can grab salt and just put it on.
Oh, I like the salt texture.
Yeah.
I also like it when you take like saran wrap and wad it, or a paper towel does that.
Yeah.
Look at me grow.
I know, right?
You know which one? I want to do another one where we do straws.
Oh, we could definitely do that.
I was looking at the straw collection in the car and thinking it's time for another straw one.
Oh, that was just like we blowing paint on the page, right? Yeah. That reminds, we could do like a fun cherry blossom with that, or just, I remember as a kid doing one like that, but we did it with ink, and you would do it for like tree branches, because it, just, you blow it and it just branches out. It's fun. Yeah, does that. I think we were talking about yesterday, I think one of the sticking points to creating sometimes is we don't know how, or we don't think we know how.
That is I mean, I know that's a big thing in entrepreneur world, creation world, is running world. Is the how, and it is something that I often find myself wanting to get stuck on, but knowing that when I just start, like, so talk about that more, because that is tricky.
It is, like,
or it can feel tricky.
Well, because we're raised to, have answers and have instructions, and how do I do this, and being told what to do, yeah, right? So when we're giving that freedom, we all think we want freedom until we have it, and then it's like, oh, what do I do? Yeah, exactly. So that can feel really jarring, and we just don't have a sense of what's next, and it's a component of fear. Like, what if I do it wrong? What if it looks bad? What if I look bad? Like, and we attach so much of our worth to some of those outcomes, like what happens if. But what I find, when you really allow yourself the space to just create, you learn how in the doing. Like, you have to find, one of my favorite quotes, I think it's, I want to say Pressfield, maybe not, I can't remember. But your muse has to find you working. Like, you have to be in the act of the doing to experience those downloads, to experience the inspiration.
Is that a little bit like in order to get lucky, you got to take action?
Yeah. Yeah, kind of like that. Get lucky.
So you want to get lucky, you got to take action.
Yeah, absolutely. So are you alluding to our challenge that's coming up, Jen? Like,
maybe so.
Maybe. Okay.
Well, just even just a reminder, like, going to the quote, like, your muse has got to find you working. Is that, I know often, not often, there have been moments when you've done work, or you've created things, but afraid or nervous or apprehensive or just unsure, and you don't put it out there, but you just kind of want people to come. Like, totally guilty of that. But it's in that, just to remind, oh, that was not the color that I just stuck that in. The reminder that I still have to take action. Like, I still, and that doesn't mean going out and scrambling. It doesn't necessarily mean going out and hustling. Just taking action.
Well, that's such a great, when you're talking about that, it reminds me of a story. I think it's in a Gilbert book, but she talks about, this famous writer. He's at a book signing, and he's well known and published. I wish I could remember his name. And then a fan comes up and says, we're the same age, and I've been laboring at this for years, and what's the difference, and why do you why do you have this break and all this? And he's like, what can you tell me other than just keep going? And this guy is really at his wit's end with
it gets frustrating.
It's frustrating. He's lost his drive to want to do it, his why. And the guy responds to him and he says, well, quit then, and he's like, I'm not trying to be insensitive, but if what you're doing isn't bringing you joy, and it's not something that you're willing to labor for, it takes me.
But I think that's the piece too, is like, if it's something that you really, I'm like, did I just stick my hand in it? No. It doesn't necessarily feel like work all the time. Like you got to do details and things that feel worky, but I just think in the hustle culture that we've been taught over the last many years, there's just, I don't know, I find it very unhealthy.
I think no matter what, though, it's like,
but you got to take action.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just think, like, there's that Mark Manson book, where he talks about like what's the shit sandwich you're willing to eat.
Yeah.
But it's not that it's actually shit. It's actually like, are you willing to do the small steps that it takes to be great at what you're doing? He gives the example of wanting to be in a band, and he told everyone he was going to be a rock star, he's going to do this, he's going to do that, but he wasn't willing to go on tour and to be away from home and pack up his stuff to find gigs. He wasn't willing to do those things to get to what he wanted. Like painting, like if I wasn't willing to pull out all my paint supplies and have really crappy art and, be bad at what I'm doing for a while and take classes, or, find ways that work for me to be inspired, or, have the patience to find what my voice is, like, I wouldn't still be painting. But because it's something that's important to me and it's something I want to be good at, I get to learn how to work through the discomfort of working towards that. Does that make more sense?
Yeah.
So it's not about, I don't think it's hard work necessarily.
It's
the steps it takes to get there.
And sometimes I think it's that check-in. Oh shoot, that's actually water. I thought that was just dry space. It is not. That check-in piece of like, is that what you really want? And I really don't always love the what's your why, but why is it that you think you want that particular thing? What is it that you're hoping is the outcome or the gain? Or
tell me why you don't like the why.
I just think it's overused.
Okay, but is it relevant?
It actually, yeah.
Like, why do you do the race that you do every year? Like, what's your why? Why is that important? Why do you go through? Because it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
It's a lot to put together. So what is it that makes
I love creating the tough challenges for people and the toughness of that event. But I really love the feeling of watching people do hard things and accomplish them. I love their faces when they come across the finish line and they know they've done a damn hard thing. And I love it when they fall into my arms and they have the cutest little tears of celebration with me. And they're like, I made it. I did it. I like watching people do hard things and celebrating them in it is probably the greatest joy of why I do that.
Yeah.
Plus all the people I get to meet, just hosting an amazing event. Watching people come together to create magic is pretty freaking awesome. I'm like, how do I want to do this? I don't know.
You can totally make this yours. You didn't have to go around the edges. I just felt inspired to. I think when it dries, I'll probably do little doodads in the eggs, just to give them some shape and some fun, either with a white marker or black Sharpie, and just kind of make it pop. I've seen that people will do, give it as a card or something, or put Happy Easter or whatever. Make it fun that way. So.
Oh! No! I guess we're going to get some blue fade in that one.
There you go.
Booga. I should wait because those jelly beans are still a little wet.
Yeah, I love that you did jelly beans. That's super fun. I almost wanted to do a bunny.
I half expected you to do a bunny.
I think after the whole bear incident, I wasn't ready to go there. I have this headache.
Thank you for being gentle with me.
I was trying to be gentle with me and with just getting back into it. I was telling Jen, I feel like I've neglected my paints the last 6 weeks or so. I think it's been with the trip to Canada and just lots of stuff going on. But I did finish the commission piece, so that was super fun.
Yeah, super excited to they look so, the final pieces themselves look freaking amazing, but seeing them inside of the project that they were commissioned for is so much fun, and to be able to have conversation with Jane in regards to it, and
even the creation process, trying to get an idea of what she's looking for. I think that's one of my favorite. That's one of the things that one of my whys of I love taking someone's idea and being able to show it back to them. I think it's one of my favorite things, and just seeing their face of oh my gosh, you get it, or you see it, or you're close, you got an idea.
Totally got me.
Yeah.
That is a really amazing, that is an amazing talent that you have and gift. And it was really fun to watch it play out for someone else, and actually several people, because you got a few things going on.
Yeah. Oh.
Wow.
So how's that feel?
Well, I did it.
I noticed there's less crunchiness today.
I just decided to let it be. Actually, I like the salt idea. Go toss a little salt on here.
I didn't realize Easter was so early this year. I'm used to Easter being maybe in the middle, but I don't think I pay attention too much to that.
I just keep thinking, oh my heck, it's on Sunday.
Yeah.
What do you guys do to celebrate? Do you do Easter Bunny? Do you go to other people's Easter things? Do you do dinner? Do you have family get-togethers? Is there religious celebrations? How do you guys how do you do Easter? I'm working
Luba says
on
hi.
Oh, what?
She says, hi, beautiful humans. It's been too long. I miss you both.
Luba, I have been wondering where the heck you're at, other than I know where you're at. Yeah. So thanks for joining us and saying hi. You've been on my mind too. Okay, I'm just trying to get this off the table so that I can show you my work as well.
There you go. We can pop it off here and you can just share. Yeah. Did it work? I don't think it worked.
Did what work? You got to do this one.
Nope. Oh, I can just exit my screen.
What? Oh, I see what you're doing. Okay.
You can just call me the wizard.
The wizard.
The wizard.
Mine's still a little wet, but I don't think it'll drip. Wait, that spot will.
That's fun.
So I used a couple techniques that I wasn't planning on just so I could show you.
There you go.
Ta-da! I actually kind of like the darker color as the background.
Yeah.
Because it makes the egg stand out more.
It's funny because I was like, oh, I should have done yellow because I hardly used yellow in mine. It's so funny.
I actually appreciate that part of this process, is the recognition and you actually voicing like
how we compare.
I like what you did over there, and why does that you as a more practiced artist in this, and is that you still have those feelings too, like the humanness of it. And so permission granted to just have your humanness of it, but to keep doing it.
I just think it's neat how we can do something similar, but we'll express differently, or because we're so different, we see the world different. We, certain colors draw us more, and it's just, I think that's fascinating to me.
Yeah.
So, and there's stuff to always appreciate about that.
Okay, I have a question. Can I ask a question on your paint cast?
Yeah, okay.
It keeps pressing onto my mind, and I think partly because it's stuff going on in my own personal world as well. And I know there's a lot of stuff going on in the energy of the world and the universe in general. Are you guys experiencing? I know there's Easter. That's a big time of year. That's a lot of energy movement and things. I know there's an eclipse coming up that has a lot of energy and stuff tied to it. We actually just had a lunar eclipse, and there's a lot of energy and things tied up in that. Are you noticing stuff inside of yourself in regards to heightened emotions of any sort? Have you noticed wanting to experience change, or to have you noticed? I'm trying to think what I'm trying to say. Like like it's almost a greater annoyance as old patterns and things are wanting to die off in your world, and you're really wanting to move forward in whatever you're creating at the moment or playing in. Have you noticed stuff like that in your world? And if you have, I would love to hear about it in the comments. And I think that's something that could make a really great conversation as well, just back and forth of what is it that you're experiencing? Do you have words to put to what you're experiencing? Because sometimes I think as we go through it sometimes like this, I don't have words other than like and we'll go through it, and Lee will say something. I'll be like, well, those are the words. So is there one, are you experiencing things? Are you noticing any shifts in yourself, or any just happiness or extra static? And is that something you'd want to have a conversation about? Because I think it could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Maybe we could paint.
Maybe. So do you have an answer for that? Are you asking me? Are you just asking it in general?
Well, I was asking it in general, but I did have a thought to turn to you and say, have you? Because I know I have, like, I have.
For sure.
There's a lot of stuff going on. And we talked about it yesterday of just a feeling of being broken open, and all of the emotions and things that I don't know that I've recognized. But right now, I think with everything that's going on, there's just extra push to raise our energy and to let go of old stuff. And
I think for myself, it's been more a recognition of when I'm not following my energy, and how heavy that is. How when I'm in a place of, I've made a decision. My head's hurting so much right now. I've made a decision. And then because it's a challenging decision, I want to question it. I want to find another way, because nothing's black and white for me. I'm always looking for, how can I look at this different, do it in a different way. And I feel like in this particular decision, like I've really bumped up against, like there's not a lot of options, and when I try to go away from what I had initially decided, what already felt good, what already felt light, just the heaviness that came with putting myself in that limbo, because thinking it's the wrong decision. But that's my way of saying, really pay attention to what your energy is telling you. And when I shifted back into that decision, just how much lighter I felt, and I knew it was the right decision. But how we question ourselves, and I think as we're shifting into this energy, or we have more of that awareness, just how crunchy that makes our everyday experience. Because when we're not following it, we feel it. but we try to ignore it and numb it and
right. Distractions, all the things. So what I'm hearing you say is, like, when we put our energy and our decision making outside of us, like, one, it's separation. It's a separation of self. It's a separation for source. But so what I'm hearing you say is, like, you brought that back inside you, came home to yourself, and made the decisions, and were able to feel the piece of I guess we would call it oneness, or
our inner knowing.
Coming back to yourself, bringing back your power.
We all have a sense of an inner knowing, and I think we've been taught not to trust that and to trust outside sources. And I think that's what I've really been learning in the last year and a half, maybe 2 years, of when I'm not following that. Just, I already know the truth of it. I already know the answers, but I'm doubting it because I don't have physical proof. And that's why I love this paint cast, and I love creativity, because it's an opportunity to practice in safe ways, trusting the unknown, creating from a space of not knowing.
Yeah, I think that piece right there is it's actually part of why I've missed it, even though I can come on here, and part of why I come on is to let it be okay for you to let go of your perfectionism and to express all of those things and feelings, because I'm going to share them with you of what I'm experiencing. And there are days has been really challenging for me. But there are days like today. I mean, it was simple. I didn't make birds that look like bananas and polar bears that look like seals. But I still have some feelings about that one, but I showed up. And I spoke the things and the feelings and the thoughts that were coming out. And just, I think that's part of why I enjoy doing this, because it allows me the opportunity, as you're talking and giving us an idea. I don't even want to say teaching, like giving us an idea of how to make it happen in a way that works for us and what we're doing with our own tools and resources. And I love how you do it, because you give the power back to us. You don't say this is what it has to be. And I think for me, that's super helpful. And I've actually missed it. So
as you're talking, I was thinking it's an opportunity to practice not judging yourselves, like
bringing that power back in.
Yeah, exactly. I think of how meditation works and teaches you to notice your thoughts, but not attach to them. This is kind of a different way to do that, an active way. Practice not judging.
Ooh.
And experimenting. Becoming a master experimenter.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
So we're going to wrap up, because I feel like my head's going to explode in this moment.
Hey, thanks for being with us today. And we would love to see your artwork.
Yes.
Whatever it is, whether you painted with us today, or you've done one of our other projects, or you're doing stuff on your own. That could be a mill, it could be a poem, it could be a picture, it could be, you name it. It is a family-friendly show, but so just keep that in mind. But go over to Righteous Rebels. Righteous Rebels Facebook group. You're welcome to go to righteousrebels.com and check out the good stuff over there too. Yeah. But we have an art gallery that you can post your stuff in at the Righteous Rebels Facebook group. We would invite you and encourage you and welcome you to do so.
Yep.
We'll put our own in there, sign it. Sometimes I forget to sign them. And then
the art gallery. So I'll post this link there and today's artwork. And then, we'd love to see yours, whatever it is you're creating, so we can celebrate you and share you with the rest of the community. And you should scroll up in there, because there's some really cool stuff.
There's some really cool stuff. And thank you to all who share and post inside there. And with that, have a happy Easter, and we'll see you next week, probably on Live and Unscripted.
Yeah. Have an awesome weekend.
Take care.
Oh, what is it I say? Don't think about what creativity can do for you. Think of what you can bring to life with creativity.
Oh, there you go.